It is one of the world's truly great firsts, paddling unassisted solo across the Tasman Sea from Australia to New Zealand. And this man has achieved just that, Richard Barnes. We're about to hear his remarkable story here on Travel Oz. G'day, welcome. I'm Greg Granger.
Also in this episode, zigging and a zagging on the Great Zigzag Railway. On top of the roof, on top of the world as we climb beyond Skyway. Christmas in July, Yulefest celebrations in the Blue Mountains, and music, music, music on Queensland's music trails. We're down on the Lane Cove River on the northern outskirts of Sydney, about to meet a most remarkable Aussie, Richard Barnes. Richard, a 62-year-old structural engineer from Sydney, has just paddled 1,700 kilometres single-handedly and unassisted from Australia to New Zealand.
Richard, at what point in your life did you say, I want to paddle from Australia to New Zealand?
So there was a defining point.
Yes.
9 years ago, I was with a group of scouts, New Year's Eve, New Year's resolutions. I said to them, I'm going to do it.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Hillary answered that, didn't he? Because it's there.
Yeah,
But because it's so peaceful out there. It is beautiful out
So
there.
there are not too many challenges left in the world, are there?
True.
Firsts, real true first.
Which didn't really matter. It didn't need to be a first, but that was sort of a bonus.
First attempt.
Well, starting from Port Macquarie, heading out
Yes.
towards Lord Howe Island. Yes.
Then
That
you
was
hit-
when COVID was on, and so I knew that I couldn't land in New Zealand. They would turn me away. So it was a halfway and halfway back. Then I got a cyclone just off Lord Howe. That made the decision easier to turn back.
Wow. So you've turned back and you didn't give up. You've gone again. This time you decided not to go from Port Macquarie. You decided to go from way south Tasmania.
Hobart, it's closer. Rather than 2,200 kilometres from Port Macquarie, only 1,700 kilometres from Hobart, and more westerly winds.
So what sort of preparation? You built your own boat?
Did, yes. So started with a Mirage double, like what I'm in,
Yes.
and stretched it, made a hull out of that,
Yes.
made the deck with foam core and a timber mould,
Yes.
so I could make it to my design. So I could have a sleeping area and a vestibule area.
So off you go, and you've got no media coverage at all. You deliberately didn't want sponsors, no media coverage.
So that takes pressure off, definitely. Especially not having sponsors, there's less commitment. But I realised along the way that commitment comes from friends' involvement. And so I had to go. There was no way out.
Yes. So off you go, and conditions were quite reasonable when you get out there, initially.
Most of the way they were. Most of the way. 90% of the time they were just plodding along through medium-sized waves. Just a little bit. Maybe 5% of the time was a little bit more what a friend called sporty.
Yes.
But then there was another 5% when it was incredibly calm.
So let's talk about the good times. The
Right.
good times, what are you thinking?
Thinking how peaceful it is.
Yes.
How this is a release from all the pressures of city life. Responsibility, you can't get away from it any other way.
So off you go. We want to know how that life was going. What are you eating? A lot of wheat bix, I hear.
A lot of Weet-Bix, yes. So 4 crunchy in the morning, then 4 soggy. That was breakfast every day. Vita Wheats and some sort of tin of fish for lunch. And then dinner was always hot soup to get warmed up again. I had a supplier from Tasmania of dehydrated main courses, and then always dessert.
Which was?
Dried fruit or fruit cake or jam tarts. That's all sorts of yummy things.
So water, what do you do for water?
I was using about 1.5 litres of water every day. We'd changed it from being a hand pump version to be a foot pump version, so it had the advantage of giving my legs a little bit of exercise. But that kept me going.
So Richard, you're off the boat. Here's a photograph of you away from the kayak. What on earth were you thinking? That could have floated away.
So there were 3 times I had to get out of the boat.
Yes.
Twice to get barnacles off.
Yes.
And then one time I just had this great urge to try and get a picture of the whole boat. I didn't have the drone, so how was I going to get far enough away?
Yes.
So I just unclipped and swam away from the boat on a very calm day and got that photo.
So no fear that you were going to become permanently separated from the kayak?
No, this was a very calm day. But I did have these 3 sharks that befriended me.
Yeah.
Stayed for about a week and just swam around the boat, popped up beside me and looked up at me each morning and said hi, or whatever they were doing. Who knows? And then probably the highlight of the trip, I had these 2 whales that leaped out of the water just in front of me.
Wow.
So exciting.
Wow. Did they stay with you?
Only for about 15 minutes.
Now, one creature that did stay with you are these albatross, and they had a bit of a nibble on your safety rope there, your anchor.
It did. So the albatross, always interested.
Yes.
I'd only seen them flying by in the past. They're so good at flying, but then they'd come in and land. And I still don't know why they were landing. Then there was that moment when they decided they liked eating my sea anchor rope. And I didn't have rocks to peg at them to scare them away. So I got a bucket of water and that scared them away at that time.
Let's talk about the 5% hard times. How hard were those hard times?
So I did get capsized twice.
Yeah.
One while I was sleeping, so it was a surprise. So the boat was self-righting, so I didn't have to do that. And the first one was while I was asleep, so I was inside. I couldn't have righted it myself. It solved that problem. It came back up again.
Yes.
The other one while I was paddling along. It wasn't that rough a day, but I just got surprised by a big wave breaking on me.
Yeah.
Tipped over.
And so you've got all this time in the wide open Tasman Sea, you've got all this time to learn, and you decided to learn some beer banjo paddling.
Indeed. And that was actually from a friend, John, who provided me with laminated copies of the poems so that I could stick them on the deck and then just learn it.
So have you really learned it? What can you remember?
So I learned 2. Man from Snowy River.
Come on. Give us a stanza.
There was movement at the station.
Yeah.
The word got around. The colt from Old Regret had got away. He'd joined the wild bush horses. Now I've forgotten the rest.
Fantastic. You've learnt the... Great. All right, so all this paddling, 66 days?
67. Can't forget one day.
67 days, and there's the New Zealand Coast Guard come out to meet you.
Indeed. But really the excitement was on about day 61 when I first saw land. That really was very special.
And so you still took those extra 6 days to actually make it to land.
I'd gone a long way south. Not on purpose, the wind had just blown me south and took those extra 6 days from when I first saw Stewart Island to plod my way back up to somewhere I could land on the mainland of South Island.
Wasn't a danger that you could have been blown past New Zealand altogether?
There certainly was a little risk.
Next stop, South America?
Or Antarctica. So I had a fabulous weatherman, Roger Badham. He is the best. And he told me that there were 3 days of southerlies coming.
Yes.
I just relied on that to blow me north.
Wow. So you hit land, and how's the feeling of elation when you hit land?
It's certainly pretty special. To see people again, part of my family was there, and so it was very exciting to see them, to step onto land. My legs wouldn't work, so I had to borrow my dad's walking stick because my legs just would like jelly.
Is that right?
It took 2 days.
2 days before you could walk properly.
Back in Australia and able to walk properly, Richard is taking his message to kayak clubs and youth groups like the first Turramurra Cubs and Scouts here.
So, an amazing accomplishment, and this must be an inspiration to so many young people.
Well, I hope so. I didn't have sponsorship going or any fundraising that I was doing, but I do want to get the message out there. Be adventurous. Try whatever it is. It doesn't need to be an ocean, doesn't need to be Everest, but just do whatever your passion is. And I hope young people will do that.
Well, we have travelled on. We've travelled on to the beautiful, the gorgeous Blue Mountains. Now, this was a formidable barrier for the early explorers to cross, and an even more formidable challenge for early train travel, particularly down the western side of the mountains. We're about to experience the famous Zigzag Railway. We are reliving the golden age of steam. Now we're on the western side of the Blue Mountains. We're about to hop on this train. This is the Zig-Zag Railway. This was so steep, the trains from 1869 used to zig and zag down the western side of the mountain. So, all aboard.
The Zig-Zag Railway has been closed for 11 years, the result of bushfires, storm damage and COVID restrictions. But now it's open again for a back and forth trip down the mountainside.
Okay, we're at Clarence Station, start of our journey on the famous Zig-Zag Railway.
The green flag signals we're clear to start rolling. Our young guard is Adrian McManus.
You're a volunteer, but you look like you're having a hoot.
Oh, absolutely. Having such a great time up here. Stickety-boo.
So you're the guard?
Yes, I'm one of the guards here at Zig-Zag. Yeah.
And doing all the commentary?
Yes, I do the commentary. Thankfully, we've got some recorded announcements that we use, but yeah, do some commentary to make sure the passengers are safe and informed.
So you're coaching full-time, your profession, but you volunteer for a weekend here on the train?
Yes, so I go to uni part-time, I work part-time as a public speaking coach, and yeah, I volunteer at Zig-Zag and do a number of other things, and it's not just the stuff you see us doing here at Zig-Zag actually on the line. There's a lot of stuff that's done offline as well, pun very much intended, to make sure that we keep running as an organisation.
These steam trains need almost 3 tonnes of coal every hour to operate. Shoveling the coal today is Dan Zofeld, not only a key volunteer in the cabin, but also the railway CEO.
You're in a interesting position. We're watching you shovel the coal, but you're also the CEO.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the beauty of Zig-Zag, you know, it doesn't matter what role you play in the railway, everyone can have a go.
So you're a volunteer?
Volunteering today, yeah, absolutely.
And this is completely a volunteer operation.
We're about 98, 97% volunteers, so up until very recently we were an entire voluntarily operation, but for us to be able to maintain our professionalism and keep up with our maintenance, we do need a small amount of staff.
Dan, what a history this train has had. Started in 1869, ran for the best part of 40 years, and then decommissioned because the other line was able to. But then you've had fires, you've had all sorts of
bushfires, landslides, pandemics, we've endured it all.
And now you're up and running again.
We are, and it's an absolutely sensational feeling, and it's such a story of resilience and achievement for our team.
So tell us about what we're on today, this engine.
So we're on the AC-16 218.
Yep.
It's a Baldwin-built locomotive in 1943. Came over from America as part of the war effort, and we acquired the locomotive from Queensland Rail. Being here every day as a full-time employee, being able to have this keeps me so excited and so intrigued and so interested, and it's also beautiful because Monday to Friday we make all the preparation, and Saturday, Sunday we get to see everyone here enjoying the railway.
Okay, and this is the golden age of steam that you're keeping alive.
Trying to, yeah, and I think we're doing a really good job.
First stop today is Top Points. It's here the engine switches ends. The carriage is just pulled one way, about to be pulled the other direction downhill. We're in the midst of the Zig in the Zig-Zag. Rolling once more, time to meet the passengers. Train buffs are plenty here today.
June, why did you want to ride this train today?
Because I've always loved steam trains since I was this big. And it's good to be able to do it again after the bushfires and everything.
I remember coming on as a kid, and I also brought my older kids about 20 years ago. It's a bit different to how I remember it, but it brings back the memories.
Yeah, when you've been married as long as we have, then you sort of got to enjoy the same interests. So I love steam trains too. We've done steam trains almost everywhere I can think of, but this is one of the best, isn't it?
How come you're here today?
We're here to take a ride, Nico's first time on the Zig-Zag.
So we've zigged and we've zagged to reach the bottom of the mountain. Time to begin the hard haul uphill. Engine 218 is a huffin' and a puffin' and a ziggin' and a zaggin'. Such an impressive sight as it crosses those 5 sandstone viaducts. The Great Zig-Zag Railway, reliving history on the western flanks of Australia's true Blue Mountains.
and travel on. We've travelled on to another classic Blue Mountains icon, Scenic World. Today, a new guest presenter, Angus Cummings.
We're on top of the world. Behind me, got the Three Sisters, the Scenic Skyway. I'm going to be lucky enough to stand on top of that and watch the sunset. I cannot wait. But until then, let's go check out the beauty that Scenic World has to offer. First off, we got the Scenic Railway, the steepest railway in the world. Let's hop in. All right, we've just hopped on. There's the Indiana Jones music. We are well and truly on our way. I'm nervous. It's pretty steep, down straight into this tunnel. We're going into the black. This is the way the old miners did it. Except they didn't have these fancy brakes, they just had a handbrake. It's so steep, I don't know how they've done it, but you'd look at the scenery and it all just takes you back. Historically, this used to be a coal mining train for the miners. They used to come down here on the original 52, the natural incline. Now, since the 1940s, post-World War, they've turned it into a tourism thing. 25 million tourists have come down since then, and you can understand why when you're on it. Now, off to the dinosaurs, eh? So, in Dinosaur Valley, we've got all different types of animatronics. You've got little eggs, young dinosaurs, older dinosaurs. These animatronics are world class. Look over there, there's a keeper feeding a dinosaur. You could swear it's real. And best of all, the herd's expanding. 35 different animatronics this year. It gets better and better every year. One really interesting aspect about Scenic World is they have an Indigenous Engagement Officer, David King. He's behind me. We're lucky enough to be welcomed to country today with a beautiful smoking ceremony. Let's go find out some more about it. First of all, David, thanks very much for having us. I was just wondering, can you tell us a bit about what we're doing here today and what it means to you and your people?
So whenever people came up onto any Aboriginal nation, first process is to be welcomed to country.
Yep.
That's what we're doing today. So we use the gum leaves up here in the Blue Mountains on Gundungra country.
Yep.
World Heritage came because apparently we have 101 species up here.
Yeah.
So that oil is what makes the Blue Mountains nice and blue
Yeah.
from down there in Sydney.
Now, it's time for the climax, the Beyond Skyway. Moment of truth now, harnessed up onto the roof we go. The Skyway's rolling, straight over Jamison Valley, spectacular views. You've got Katoomba Falls just over there, behind me the Three Sisters. It is absolutely breathtaking. We are currently parked in between the two Skyway stations, hanging in the middle, standing on the roof. It is the most incredible 360-degree view, breathtaking. I'm here with Ben, who at this point I'm convinced has the best job in the world. He's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on. So Ben, where are we? What can we see?
We're on the Skyway at the moment, currently on the roof of the Skyway. And the Jamison Valley here, very small part of the Blue Mountains National Park and the Greater Blue Mountains World Heritage Area. So it's a very special place. Like you say, we've got the Three Sisters there, Mount Solitary out in the middle, that flat top mountain, about 6 kilometres away. Just a beautiful view right out into the distance there towards Canangra. So very beautiful spot.
It feels like a long way, but how high are we actually off this forest floor?
So we're about 270 metres off the valley floor here. So we are up nice and high. Yeah.
Certainly feels like more, I can tell you that much. If this isn't enough of a view, you have a whole another 180 degrees on the other side. What's going on there, can you tell me?
Yeah, so we've got Katoomba waterfalls over there. So those waterfalls, they've never run dry in recorded history, and they're fed by a spring, but also a hanging swamp further up the cliff there. So very beautiful, and lots of people like to get their photo there at the top of the waterfalls.
So looking out this way, how far can we actually see?
Yeah, so you can see quite a way out into the distance there. I mean, when it gets a bit darker, we'll be able to start seeing the lights of Wollongong and Campbelltown. Mount Kira, Mount Kembla. It certainly does make you feel small.
Beyond Skyway, an incredible experience.
Well, next up, a room with a view. In fact, a whole hotel with a view. A glorious view of the Jamison Valley, which is south of Katoomba, the Mountain Heritage Hotel.
Breathtaking. Those views wowed when the hotel was opened in 1908, and they still wow today. Perched high on a ridge in Katoomba, this 4.5-star multi-award winning hotel is managed by Roberts Ejobs.
Good evening, Greg. Lovely to meet you. Welcome to the Hotel Mountain Heritage.
Mountain Heritage Hotel has got quite some reputation. This is the heritage of the Blue Mountains.
It is. We're very fortunate to be now managing this beautiful 41 boutique hotel.
So one of the wonderful things about this hotel is that you do have views of the Blue Mountains.
Absolutely spectacular views, world class, overlooking the beautiful, stunning Jamison Valley.
Inside, it's been classically styled, allowing one to enjoy the romance and charm of another era.
Cheers.
It's great, and welcome once again.
Room with a view. You've got many, many, many rooms with a view.
We're very, very fortunate, and the view is obviously something we're really, really proud of, and something we really want to, highlight at all opportunities.
With such a rich history, it's entirely fitting that the afternoon entertainment comes from a veteran mountains musician, Alan Johnston.
You have been here 40 years. There's got to be something about this hotel that you like.
Oh, look, it's just loaded with musical and entertainment tradition. The very oldest photo we have of this house has people singing round a piano, and it's from 100 years ago almost. And this place was a hive of music and entertainment in the 1920s. It was the big time. People came up from Sydney, they stayed a week, they were fully entertained. There was a house entertainer. They had trivia nights, and they had talent quest nights, and they had fancy dress nights. They used board games. The hotel had its own dance band, a house dance band, and every night after a talent quest or a fancy dress event, there was dancing. They were dancing the latest dances, and then, when it got too late, and all of that had to come to an end, they had a house chaperone.
So what exactly are you trying to create here?
A warm, relaxing environment.
Yeah.
We offer beautiful fireplaces, open log fireplaces, along with a stunning view, friendly professional service, and a staff that really cares about our guest.
We almost feel like we've been taken back in time as we walk around these halls.
Absolutely. We do try to respect the character and history of the hotel, and we try to complement that with a high level of friendly professional service. If the guests are happy, we're happy, and that's what it's all about. That's the art of hospitality at the end of the day.
That evening, the sight of Santa Claus signals that this is the start of the hotel's Yulefest celebrations. Christmas in July. Santa and his helper engage with all the visitors, enjoying a 7-course mini degustation meal. Many of the guests have dressed up in tune with the evening's theme.
You've come from Balmain?
From Balmain, yeah. Yep.
Up to the mountains to celebrate.
Yeah, and we are having a great time. This is such a beautiful place. The singing has been amazing. Food's amazing. Yeah, it's just great.
And so, why? Why do you dress up? Why do you come to Yuletide?
Oh, well, I think, my mum was always a Christmas tragic, wasn't she? So I might have inherited it there. And, I like a sharp-dressed man, so,
No Yulefest celebrations would be complete without carols, sung by a 4-piece Mountains choral group.
We are from Pure Voice, so Tim is a music teacher down in Katoomba and Penrith.
Yeah.
And I've done music lessons with him for a couple of years now.
Mountain Heritage Hotel is a great
now we're
venue,
here.
this Yuletide celebration here tonight.
Awesome, it's just gorgeous. Oh, I really like the ambience of this place, it's just amazing. The sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy.
Just south of Katoomba, Wentworth Falls turns on more stunning mountains views, with Roberts Ejobs introducing us to another of their accommodation classics, the Falls Mountain Retreat.
Welcome to Falls Mountain Retreat. Great to have you here, and I believe welcome back home.
Used to live in Wentworth Falls for so much of my early life, and this property you've got right on the edge of the Wentworth Falls escarpment.
Absolutely, and right on the edge of a national park, as you've highlighted.
And rooms?
Yeah, offer a combination of 36 apartments here, studios, 1-bedroom apartments, as well as 2-bedroom apartments. Each apartment also features an open gas fireplace, as well as a spa bath.
From the Blue Mountains, we're heading north to Queensland for a musical experience. One of the positive outcomes of the coronavirus lockdowns was a big boost for music festivals. The Queensland Music Trail was born, and we at Travelodge travelled up to Cunnamulla in southern outback Queensland for the River Lights Festival, part of the Queensland Music Trails. Let's see how the music trails are evolving. It was all lights and action at the inaugural River Lights Music Festival in Cunnamulla. Indigenous performers like Alice and Emma gave powerful performances. Music Trail's CEO and creative director Joel Edmondson was the visionary behind this concept.
So Cunnamulla is the second stop on the Outback Music Trail that begins in St George, goes to Cunnamulla, then Charleville, then Tambo. So our ambition is to create 7 trails in different regions of Queensland.
So far there have been 4 music trails staged, but today yet another one is being launched, the Brisbane Music Trail.
Well, the Brisbane Music Trail is far and away the biggest program that we will deliver year on year as part of Queensland Music Trails. Brisbane has an incredible history of both homegrown events and iconic live music venues. And until now, we really haven't had a way of packaging that up, telling it as a story and inviting people to experience it.
Among the speakers at today's launch, the Queensland Arts Minister, Leanne Enoch.
So as we see the kinds of collaborations that this particular project is demonstrating, that expression of culture is something that belongs to all of us in Brisbane. It is unique and it is vibrant, and it is something that we should all be very proud and excited about.
Queensland Music Trails is really an evolution of the Queensland Music Festival, which ran from 1999 to 2019. The real spirit of that event lives on in Queensland Music Trails, and that was really about taking world-class music to Queensland. But we've really evolved the concept now to use it as a framework to invite people from all around the world to discover the most beautiful parts of our state. In the pandemic, we ran a trial of the concept in the Outback with the Outback Music Trail over 4 destinations. And then when the Olympics were announced, the government understood that we really need a big, significant cultural tourism opportunity for the state, both for the state as a whole and for communities in the lead up to the Olympics. These outback locations are really pretty small towns that don't have big infrastructure for the accommodation of people. So we had about 3,000 people travel out to the outback for that series of events. And the Barley Shakes created a series of events across the Outback Music Trail called On the Road, which were really about getting people involved in a participatory experience of music making. One of the things that we're really passionate about with Queensland Music Trails is the opportunity to bring together people from across Australia that really love music, that love playing music, to go out on the road together to experience that sense of community.
With that jolly jumbo you've got there in your tucker bag, the walls say Matilda would be.
Amongst the trail stage was the Reef Trail, staged on Cape Hillsborough, amongst the beach kangaroos and wallabies.
We were absolutely thrilled to be given the permission by the traditional owners, the Yuwi people of Cape Hillsborough, to be able to stage the first ever event there. We staged Busby Maroo's record launch on the beach with wallabies. It was truly amazing.
Then there was the Scenic Rim Trail, a stone's throw from Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Staged at Elysian Fields in the heart of Canungra, this was Australia's newest boutique regional music event under the banner of The Long Sunset. finally, there's been the Southern Trail, showcasing the best of what the Southern Downs region has to offer. So what's ahead? The Brisbane Music Trails launched today and a new Tropics Trail.
So the Tropics Trail is really built around Yarrabah Music and Cultural Festival, which has been going for over a decade. Yarrabah is Australia's most significant Indigenous community, 45 minutes from Cairns. Lots of legendary artists, Paul Kelly, Yothu Yindi, Baker Boy, have played that festival over the years. This year it's headlined by Jessica Mauboy and Electric Fields. So we're really looking forward to welcoming everyone back to Yarrabah for that again this year.
The Queensland Music Trails, trailblazing.